The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Tastes just like candy.
Just listen to your heart. That's what I do.
Since I've been loving you, yeah, I'm about to lose my worried mind. Ah, yeah. Everybody trying to tell me I really did the best I could. I've been working from 7 to 11 every night. I said it kind of makes me laugh, but drag.
Hi, Weeb. Weeb is watching. JD, what's up? Welcome. We're about to get started very soon, so just hang out a moment, because we're getting started soon with this conversation. It's going to be a good conversation, Pam. We're going to talk about, healing the mother-daughter relationship for the sake of our love lives and what that has meant in life. I have some questions for you. I don't know if you have any questions for me, but we'll both answer the questions, just to keep it interesting. I love that you brought a book. Pleasure activism, the politics of feeling good. I love it. All right, we'll bring that into the convo. I see Kenya. Hi, my Kenya.
Hey, Kenya.
My sweet love. You remember Pam.
I see.
Pam remembers you.
Yeah, I was just about to introduce
Yeah, no, she's
thank you,
good.
yeah.
We're still in touch. So I think we should just start, Avon. Okay. Hi, Jamie Lynn. Hi, sweetheart. Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Jamie was on last week. Did you get to see her?
Not yet.
Okay, when you get a chance. Jamie was great. We started the whole mother-daughter theme. She was like my first to kick off the fall theme.
Mhm.
And, you know, I missed my James. We hadn't been together for a while. So, hi, my Joe. Joe Pryor just joined. Joe wrote a great book. Let me try to get the title right. Joe, you can type it in. It's like Unlimited Destiny or Okay, great. You just give us the... All right. I'm going to start recording now. Woo! Tell us when. Are you going to give us like some... Okay, we'll just start. We'll just go. You let me know when you start recording. Unlikely Destiny. That's what it is, Joe. Yes, thank you for that. So if you guys haven't gotten the book Unlikely Destiny yet, get that book. My friend Joe Pryor wrote it. He's a fantastic guy. Very supportive. Great friend. All right, Avon, we're just going to go, honey. Let's not worry about what Jimmy's doing. Let's just do it. All right. Welcome to Ask for Candy, where a bunch of powerhouse men and women get together online to talk about love, sex, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com, and I help hardworking women and couples who have survived abuse be vibrant, alive, magnetic, and passionate while creating healthy, intimate relationships. And I'm coming to you from the fabulous Metro Podcast Studios near the Flatiron Building. I love this area. Do you like this area?
I love it.
It's a great neighborhood. It's one of those Manhattan expensive neighborhoods.
And convenient.
But convenient.
But convenient to get here.
Right? Close to all the trains and stuff like that. I'm feeling a little naked tonight. I did low cut, and I'll tell you why. Mm-hmm. This is my new hair don't. I call it my hair don't because there's no hair.
I love it. Right? By the way,
right?
By the way, snap.
Right?
Yes,
and I feel like you're a fellow sister who like is confident enough to not have to have a whole bunch of hair. But for me, I feel like the less hair I have, the more naked I want to be. Is that crazy?
No, it's freeing.
Okay.
It's liberating.
I'm like wearing so many things that are like, I want shoulders out, which normally I'm like, usually some sort of wrap or something. I'm like low cut, whatever I can do to show skin to match the skin.
Love it. Love it.
All right. As long as you're enjoying it, Pam, because you're one of my fashion icons. I'm going to Avon, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit because I want Pam's face to be able to be seen on camera. Okay. So Pam, to lean your your resonance. There you go, so that you can be heard. All right. So you are probably listening on your TuneIn app on your smart device to Armed Radio. Hopefully we're coming through on Armed Radio. We got some technical difficulties going on, so we're not really sure. Hi, Phil. Or maybe you're in the garden on armedradioglobal.com. We're also on iHeartRadio, so don't forget to follow us and download your favorite shows. And for those of you who like to stream, we're also on Spotify and Spreaker. Or maybe you're live with us here on the Facebook. I see Elena just joined. Hi, my sweetheart, my Elena. She's been on the show also. Did you ever meet Elena? Elena Chapman? Probably.
Yes. I remember her.
Yeah, she's an amazing lady. She wrote a great book too. Brandon just joined. What's up, Brandon? And and if you you guys know that if you're on the Facebook Live, you can talk to us because this is a conversation. You can ask us questions. You can, we're going to be asking questions, so you can put your input in and just join in with us. And if you're shy, you can email me at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And, I will answer those questions maybe in a later broadcast. But right now, this is the time where we take a moment to share. I don't know if you brought your phone. Did you bring your phone, Pammy? It's okay. It's okay. Because I actually think that that's a very polite thing to do, like to stay present, right? But this is the time where I'm going to you can always share later. I'm going to take a moment to share this to my group, Ask for Candy. And I want you guys to join the Ask for Candy group. And I also want you to join Armed Radio Group News, because that way you'll get to see like all the other podcasts that are on the channel, and you'll know when we're coming on, all that good stuff. Wait, let me share it to Armed Radio. Huh? Yeah. Where, you left it in your bag over here? Oh, you left it out in the lounge? I think it'll probably be okay because there's not that much traffic. But I don't know if do you want to run and go get it? Just in case. Just be careful you don't hit the hit the camera. Hi, Sean, who just came on. Hi, honey. Pam had to go get her phone. All right, so now I am sharing to my business page, Candace Harper Love Coach. And you guys out there, you guys on the Facebook, share wherever you want to share. And, then we'll get this conversation going. So, like I said, I'm Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. And my purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and others so that we can all have our best possible love life. And that is why this is a conversation. And when Pam comes back, it's going to be a full conversation with all of us. She just went to go get her phone. We're not here to hand down a bunch of dating or relationship rules or rights and wrongs, because we're not here to shame anybody. This is not how you're supposed to be or any of that. We're just here, and we're not here to shame your love situation. Our only intention is to create audacious intimacy, seductive singlehoods, and healthy relationships. So tonight and every Monday night, we're going to do what it is that we do, which is have conversations that engage, educate, and or enlighten all of us in the areas of love, sex, relationships, and vibrating high. So that's what we're doing tonight. And tonight, specifically, we're going to talk about healing it with your mom for the sake of your love life and what that means. And, why people always think that it's really your dad, that you have to, when you're a woman, that, it's daddy issues and all of that stuff. We're going to suss through all of that once Pam comes back. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Pam, who hopefully is coming back soon. She said she had to go find her phone. So Pamela McCauley is a runway model, a fashionista, and an advocate for victims of violent crime. She's also a Jersey resident, a joyful lover of life, and quite the interior designer. She does she interior designs her own apartment. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. And I first connected with Pam over a year ago. I don't know, those of you who've been listening along, those of you who've been watching along, I connected with Pam about a year ago when I used to be at the V Club. I don't know if you remember the V Club. Avon, did you see Pam out there? Yeah, I think she was looking for her phone. Anyway, I met her at the V Club a little over a year ago, and so she was a regular guest on the show. If you guys remember, I used to do a happy hour where we'd have a big group of women and we would all sit around and talk about, different issues and things like that. And Pam used to be part of that big group. Oh, you found your phone. Yay. Huh? And you got stuck? All right, be careful. Pam's coming back around the camera. There's like a little earthquake. All right, I was just introducing you. So I was telling everybody that you and I first connected at the V Club, like almost a year. Was it a year ago? Maybe like 8 or 9 months ago, something like that. And for those of you who've been watching and listening for a long time, you know that she's been an audience member for the show many times. She used to be in the happy hour and always would join in on the conversation, right? And you always bring a very exciting and well thought out perspective, which is why I wanted to have you on the show. You're an all around awesome human being. I already told everybody that you're not only a runway model, but a fashionista, a Jersey resident, and an interior designer. Right?
Just tell me more things.
And an advocate for victims of violent crime, right?
Yes.
So you do a lot of great things, Pammy. Yeah, you do a lot of fantastic things. You're doing God's work, honey. So I love that you were so quick to join me for this rich conversation, because I know it was very last minute and you just got it together. You're like, yes, honey, I'm there. I will be there. No problem. Hi, David and Gilbert, who just joined us. And so, yeah, are you ready to get into it?
Yes, I am.
Welcome back, my Pam. What do you want to say to the people who haven't seen you in a while, the people who are back and glad that you're back?
Well, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
It has been interesting, but I have missed you and this podcast, and I am honored to be here.
Yay.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Yay. And I love your beautiful jewelry and your beautiful blouse that you wore tonight. You always have like the best clothes too.
Thank you.
I saw that your friend designed something for Jill Scott. Marco Hall?
Marco
yeah,
Hall.
that was
He
beautiful.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And he is doing his thing with other members of those who are attending the VMAs in Newark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You will see him on the red carpet. and his creation.
Oh, that's fantastic. He and I are actually, Marco Hall, he and I are actually Facebook friends, but he's one of those Facebook friends that I've never met in person. But I've always enjoyed his work. It's really exciting that he's like coming up, and doing this thing.
He's a wonderful human being.
Yes. Are you ready to jump into this conversation about mother-daughter healing?
Yes.
So I feel like, and we did this last week, because I always feel like when you're going to have a conversation about something, especially something that has so many layers and can run so deep, it's good to sort of like set down a foundation of like beliefs, like, you know, whether we agree about them or don't agree about them, but like just, you know, things that we can basically say are the foundation of the conversation. Yes. And the three that I like to introduce, that I think I'm going to introduce throughout the theme, is these ideas and beliefs that you can, if they resonate with you, you can espouse to them if you want to. If they don't, they don't. But I am operating this conversation from the belief that we are often mirrors of our mothers, right? I agree.
The longer we live,
right? The more we become.
Just keep on living, girl. Just keep on living.
Right? Yes. And you're going to understand every bit of what I say and do.
Absolutely, yes. Witness.
Right?
Yes.
So that's one. And then the second one is that our relationship with our mother is so much more pivotal to our actual romantic relationships than even our relationship with our father. Even though I feel like it's a widely misconceived notion that it's all about the men and it's all about, you know, our father and our relationship with our father, why we choose who we choose. I really think that's part of the reason that we have the problems we have, is because we have completely missed over the true root, right? So
and
there's
not
that.
Listening to our moms.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they know, and sometimes they're just, you know, operating out of what their experiences are, right? So
my mom,
she just knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing too, everybody has different experiences with, you know, how their mom kind of presented relationships, but oftentimes what we do is we emulate what they do, or we choose, who we choose is based on, you know, either trying to resist her actions, resist what she chose, or, you know, we just kind of fall right into, you know, even if it didn't go so well. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the truth. Yes.
Yeah. And so then the last one is that it's very important that as women we create our own rites of passage. Absolutely. Yeah. If our mother was unable to do that, and in this Western culture, a lot of times, you know, mothers aren't able to do that because it's a very, you know, like we have ceremonies and things like that, quinceaneras and bat mitzvahs and, you know, baptisms and all of that. But our culture is a very instant gratification culture. Our culture is very, you know, success, money oriented. And I think sometimes that, you know, and if you come from a family where you were given a rite of passage, where your mother did acknowledge you as an individual woman, then you're very fortunate, I feel like. Because I don't know that a lot of women in this culture know to do that with their daughters. Yeah. So that's sort of the basis of the conversation. How do you feel about that stuff, Pam? What do you think?
Well, I think that, you know, for me and my mom did not start making any sense until I was like in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And, you know, growing up, my mom was a mommy, and she was a wonderful woman, but, you know, growing up, and I grew up in the 70s, in the 80s, when you were supposed to be really independent and your own woman, and you don't necessarily need a man. It's all about building your career, that you have time and the space later on, but it is all about you. And so, you know, that's not how my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, you know, grew up. So what they were telling me did not make a whole lot of sense. And I didn't necessarily understand the relationship dynamic that my mom had in my household with my dad. Okay, because I grew up in a two-parent household. Flawed, imperfect, but we grew up. I have twin brother, had a twin brother and my sister, but we grew up in a household where we knew that we were loved and we were really cared.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so there were things that, she did for my dad that as a young woman, maturing and growing into her womanhood and her adulthood, I rejected.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like I said, that I was maybe 23, 24 that my mom started making sense. And
well, give us an example of like a specific thing where you were just like, oh yeah, she was right about that thing.
Well, my mother always said, she would always say, my mom just doesn't leave me alone. And she would also say, my spirit doesn't need this person. And, you're like, yeah. But ultimately, there would be some falling out. There would be some, betrayal, some misunderstanding, or what have you. Yeah. And while my mother would never say, I told you so, I had that revelation that she knew what she was talking about. And my aha moment is when she says, I've been 23, 24, 25. You've never been 45, 50, 55. And at that moment, I was like, yeah, you're right. So she became my sounding board. And to the point where, if there was major decisions that I needed to make, I wouldn't move without first talking to my mom. Yeah. She's not the type, that do this and do that. But I always had the space to make my own decision. But it was informed, and I respected the knowledge, the wisdom that came with age and aging, which is now defining me, because I am now her age.
When you're saying those things?
And she's like dead on. I miss my mom. My mom's been gone 15 years, almost 14 years. And there are things and lessons that she has taught me coming through that are now coming to fruition.
Yeah. So here's my first question. What is one really positive way that you mirror your mother, and what is one really negative way that you mirror your mother? We did this question, Kenya did this question with us last week, where we all answered it.
Well, my mom, as I said, my mom was a mommy. And I get my desire to serve and to take care of people, to listen, that humanity. And she had a quiet dignity about her. Conversely, I believe that my mother wore herself out taking care of people.
Wow.
And on her deathbed, my mother died on January 20th, 2005. She told me the week before. She died on a Tuesday. The Thursday, she told me, she says, this time next week I'll be here with the Father. And
oh, wow. She knew.
Yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
And that weekend, she was crying. My mother had a stroke, and she was childlike in her last days. But she was crying. She said to me, out of the three of you, she said, you're the one that I worry about most because you were missing. And she said, promise me that you will live your life and that you will live without regret.
Wait, that's interesting that she said that she worried about you the most because you were most like her. Like, what do you think that it was, just out of curiosity, that she felt, obviously she was a strong, resilient woman. Like, what was it that she felt like she didn't do?
My mother, my mother believed that you treat people as you wanted to be treated. And we understand that on an intellectual level. But emotionally, and in a culture that celebrates disposable, microwave relationships, you're treated the way, or you respond the way people treat treated you. So my mother gave, and there were a lot of times that people didn't understand her generosity and her kindness and mistook that for weakness.
So she was afraid that you would have the same.
Right.
Gotcha.
She was, and then, you know, to overcompensate. And I saw that. I saw that. I saw how she would pour in into relationships, even with us children. You know, we were living our lives, and you know, there was always, you know, coming with the dinner. And you know, you know, she was always making plans, and coming through, you're like, you know, I got, you know, I'll get there. I get there, and you know, right now, these things come to mind that in our busyness, in my busyness, in our busyness, that we missed opportunities, and I hurt my mom because I wasn't where I was supposed to be, or I made I said things or said I was going to do things, and then got busy, distracted, and it doesn't matter what our intentions are. The bottom line is that she was hurt. And there were some things that, you know, she just felt that she was due, and she was due. But it didn't come on this side of it. And she didn't want us to feel that.
What? She didn't want you to feel?
To give and give and give and not get something back.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Wow. I feel like that is a common, you know, for women in general, especially women who are very steeped in their sort of maternal instinct, is that we tend to be over givers, over functioners. We're people pleasers, over capable.
We're over capable, and our capability or our value and our worth is tied to our ability to produce. And to always run and to always give. And then we have, you know, we live in a culture with archetypes that say that we're always supposed to be on. And that our feelings and our emotions and even our bodies are not our own. We don't have the right to our autonomy as well as our satisfaction.
See, and I think you're right, but here's the thing too. I have such a negative, and I own it. Like I own that I have a very negative framework when it comes to this idea of, you know, I have women in my life that I know that are like over functioners. And I definitely in my life have been an over functioner. Like I don't feel like that's something I'm just completely cured from. But I do have a distaste for, you know, women over functioning in friendships with me, or if I have girlfriends or, you know, people that I know that are in relationships and over functioning. It's not that I say distaste, and that puts a little bit too much judgment on it. As I get more mature and grow older, I can take the judgment out of it, but I do look at it as not a positive trait, because I do think that there's a few elements to it. I don't think it's just that we're capable of doing all those things. I think it also is an expression of our attachment, that if we do enough, that someone will love us or that they'll appreciate it. Which I think it just all comes down to what both men and women have, which is their different ways of expressing not enoughness, right? So if I feel like I'm not enough and I'm trying to fill this hole, I'm going to try to do everything I possibly can for you. And then when you can't acknowledge it, then I'm mad at you, or it causes conflict in our relationship. And
the expectation.
Expectation.
The expectation does not meet the reality. And, you know, to some extent, that was my mother's experience in her history. That would not be.
I gotcha.
It's not going to be.
I hear that. Breaking the cycle.
I'm going to break the cycle. You know, it is all. There is nothing wrong with living for pleasure, for and that I'm not being hedonistic or anything like that.
Although it'd be okay if you were, I don't mind. I don't A little hedonism.
Yes, all right. There's nothing wrong with that. But from a perspective of pleasure, that I'm deserving to be satisfied.
Yes.
And that I am enough.
Exactly.
To walk in, as you say, you're not enoughness. I'm operating in my lane of enough.
Yes.
And if I don't, and also, in terms of, and we've talked about this before, to define what brings me joy and what brings me pleasure.
Yes.
And I don't think my mother or her contemporaries really had that space in order to explore those things because they grew up.
No one cared about their pleasure.
No, it was about everybody else's pleasure.
Yeah, like what are you doing for us? What are you cooking?
Right. Or cleaning house.
Have my kid. Yeah. Let me stick my penis in you and ignore you.
Right. And beat you. And then we wonder why we have the problems and the challenges that we do with our sexuality and expressing it in such a way that honors who we are as women. I refuse to be a receptacle. Yeah. I completely reject doing things that don't give me a resounding, orgasmic yes with like 8 explanation points behind it. If it doesn't resonate, and this is something that comes because I don't think my mother, her no's or her yeses did not give her space to experience. That's not good for me. Yeah. That's not good for me.
Because I think too, especially with their generation, it's like their no's and yeses didn't mean no or yes. They meant the opposite. Yeah. Because I feel like, I know my mom included, like so much of what they were taught was to assimilate, fit in, be good girls, be super Christian, deny yourself.
Politics of respectability.
Yeah.
We have to be respectful.
Yeah.
But
and also put up a like very much like in the 50s, the 40s and the 50s, it was all about like looking good. You could be getting raped by a family member behind closed doors, but out in the open, you had to present perfection. Right. Like no one talked about anything, negative that was going on. Right. So that alone makes people inauthentic about being able to stand up for themselves, right? Because we got to pretend like everything's okay.
Everything is okay, and then we don't when we ask, even in our conversations, if whatever it is that I can do for you, if you need anything, it's like, I just tell people, listen, you need to be, don't say that. I don't process with a filter. So what you tell me, I believe. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And
like, don't say it unless you mean it.
Exactly. And we've all, and this, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just being more mindful and more not positive, but more present and more conscious of language and what we say, because our legacy to our moms, we are now in a position where we can say yes and mean it, or no and mean it, and move forward and do the things that and fulfill and pursue our possibility and opportunities that they did not have.
Absolutely. And even more so, I feel like these young millennial women, like sometimes I get a little annoyed with the entitlement, but I'm also very proud of the millennial women that I know who understand how free they really are.
Right, and the choices.
And the choices they get to make.
Their choices. Yeah. I mean, who leaves the job after a year and a half to go and see the world?
Right?
I'm just like... Yeah,
but also just understanding the word you used earlier, deserving. I love that word because I think we have such a, especially as women of color, but as women in general, we have such a weird relationship with that word and understanding that we deserve, where I notice like younger generations of women understand, yeah, like I deserve to be here on the earth. That's why I'm here. And I deserve what comes from being on the earth. And I don't have to, I forget who I was watching. It was some celebrity. And she said she had a real problem with the word, deserving of what she's gotten. And I'm like, what? Like, why would you have a problem with that? We're all human beings. Right. We do deserve to have joyful, happy experiences and pleasurable.
To be satisfied.
Yeah.
Why do we have to live? Those women, and as I said, I'm not being judgmental, but we're operating, some were operating from the position of lack and scarcity.
Yes, totally.
And so it was always about survival. It was always, how am I going, I got to get dinner on the table, or, I got to pay this bill, or I have to pay that bill. But why can't we be satisfied?
Yeah.
And with just enough. I don't have to be, made up, and I don't have to have, another, a closet full of shoes or pocketbooks, or just amassing the wealth. I think another thing that I got from my mom was enough is good.
Yeah.
Enough is good. We can be satisfied. And what does that mean to just have enough and to be satisfied?
Yeah.
Be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. All right, here's a question. Can you name one major way that your mother has influenced your love life?
My mother was kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did that influence you?
Yeah, well,
in relationships.
My mother was also a Scorpio, so I believe she was a closet freak.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scorpios are supposed to be real sexual.
Right. So why we didn't have the conversations about sex and sexuality and intimacy that maybe some other girls had with their moms, but I grew up in a space where we were free to explore, and it was never, and as long as it was like, don't bring the babies home, don't bring the babies home, but we were free, and my mother was really truthful.
Yeah,
it wasn't dating, it wasn't something to be feared. It was always about, girl, go get yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the caveat,
that's pretty cool.
My spirit's not, doesn't meet it, or,
yeah, like always really listening to your gut and your intuition
and
about
that's
people.
What my mother was rarely wrong about people.
Yeah.
And I respect that and give myself that space in order to tap into those emotions. She was hardly, I can't say never, she was hardly ever wrong.
Yeah. See, there's two things that you touched on in that I think that any mother of a daughter would benefit from knowing, because I don't think that it's about being some Norman Rockwell painting or being perfect as a mother, or this standard that we put mothers to, that they have to meet. I think there's only two things that if a mother can give it to her daughter, and I think it's why you speak highly of your mother, then you're golden. And the one is no shame about her sexuality. Like if you can save your daughter from having sexual shame and not shame her about her body or her sexual desires, and make her feel proud of it and know that she deserves pleasure, number one. And then number two, listening to your own gut and intuition so that she can learn how to listen to her. If you can give your daughter those two things, you like
golden.
Shining
like a diamond.
Yeah, and I'm not a biological mother, so I hate to tell people how to parent. This is not necessarily, obviously it's about mother-daughters, but I'm not trying to give a parenting lesson. But as a daughter, I know a daughter with sisters, who had a tumultuous relationship with my mom. It's now healed and, we're fine. But, I know that those are two really solvent, sustainable things that when a mother gives them to her daughter, it's like she gives the gift of life.
And also that it's okay to be curious.
Yes.
To be
Definitely
a lifetime learner.
Yeah.
To always question, and if something, and not if if something doesn't feel right, or if it does, but there's always there's possibility out there, and there's a lot to be discovered.
Yeah.
So she also gave me that okay, the space to be curious.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important because what it does is it just allows you to be your own human being.
Right.
That's what we're here on this earth to do. And if you can just, impart that to your child, it is sort of that rite of passage. It is that letting go. Like, go ahead, explore and learn the world. Right. Don't be ashamed of yourself and follow your gut.
Yeah.
Who needs to know anything else?
Right. But there was always, boundaries, and there were parameters. But we were always, all of us were.
I think that was Jimmy. Jimmy's coughing through the headset. I guess the headsets are back on. We hear you, Jim.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
That's all right, Jim.
But we were always, we were.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to some of the people that have been coming on. Zoe Jackson is here, and Jacqueline and Kevin. Kenya said earlier, right, Candace, I am that way in relationships too. I think that's when we were talking about the giving. And La Liz and Jonathan and Priscilla. Hi, my love. Priscilla also doing God's work. She works with women who are escaping domestic violence situations. Her and her organization, they actually put together a backpack that has everything that you need to escape. And I think they're out in LA. You can tell me, Priscilla, if you're still on the live. I think they're out in LA. I did tell her that I was going to talk about it and plug it a little bit. And also tell me the name of it, because I'll tell everybody, they're trying to get the word out, right? And it's just basically a backpack. Think about when you got to escape. Hopefully you're not in that situation, but all those basic things that you need, and like a lot of times.
Keep them in the office.
No, you keep them in the office?
Yeah.
I love that. Sometimes I won't have a toothbrush and things is just enough to be an excuse not to leave, and a woman can end up dead the next day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's life-saving stuff, right? Yeah. So Priscilla, thank you for doing God's work. Let's see who did a new comment. Let's see. Anthony Cusmano joined, and Kevin. What's up, you guys? I have another question for you, Pam. This hour goes by so fast. It's already 8:45. Yes, honey.
Snap.
You know how it does. It whizzes by. All right. So what is something that you, I know your mom has passed, but what is something that you would have wished for on behalf of her?
My mother, again, on her deathbed, had regrets. And one of them is that she was not a little traveler. What she wanted to do is trace Apostle Paul's journeys through Greece, all through Europe, Africa, and that's something that she always wanted to do. Secondarily, my mother was a brilliant woman. She was not only wise, but she was a brilliant woman. But she didn't go to college.
Oh, wow.
She saw us, and she was, my brother and I graduated from college. My dad went to school, and he'll tell you, my dad will tell you that the reason why he got through school is because of my mother and helping him and supporting him. And maybe writing some of them papers.
Yeah, right. Doing some of his homework.
But she always wanted to go. She wanted to go back to school.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I love that. I think that's pretty sweet. Yeah. So now, if you were going to have a daughter, what would you want her to know?
I want her to know about possibility. I don't want I have nieces. I don't have children, but I have nieces. And I want my nieces are warrior women. They were from little girls that they have a right to their own autonomy. They have a right to defend the space in which they occupy. They have a right, and they deserve to be heard. That they have opinions, they need to be respected, but I don't want them to move through life from this position of scarcity and survival. I want them to be able to live with what's enough, enough, and to be, and from a position of being satisfied, to be able to come to the table and eat until you're satisfied, and then be full.
Yeah.
Not gluttonous or anything like that, but to live with just enough. I want them to inhabit a space that when they say no, they understand that moves things out the way for that resounding orgasmic yes. I want them to move through life from a perspective of yes and not no.
Gotcha. Wow.
That's
hopefully they're listening. How old are they?
The oldest is 25.
Okay.
That's Esme. My two other nieces, Rebecca and Sydney, are 24. My niece Simone just turned 21. And the baby girl, Mesa, is 15.
Oh, and they have beautiful names.
Yeah, and they're all, like I said, really proud of them because they're well adjusted. They are responsible. They are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
At this age,
wow.
They're just doing their own thing and being creative. And,
I love it. It's that young generation, honey. They just,
right.
they're gonna.
They live with possibility.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So now you brought this book, Pam. What is this book about? Pleasure activism.
Okay. So,
we didn't know there'd be books.
Okay. So this book is liberating. So it's called Pleasure Activism, and while I don't know the author, Adrienne Marie Brown, just that pleasure, like any construct, whether it's race or gender, those things can be created. They're not biological. They can be constructed. They can be put together and they can be dismantled.
Okay.
And the pleasure, and I'm still working through this.
Okay.
But pleasure as a construct.
Okay.
To go out.
Are we just we're talking about pleasure just in life in general, not just sexual pleasure, right?
No, this is not. Okay. It's not erotic pleasure.
Okay.
I'm talking about a lifestyle of being satisfied, of moving through life from a perspective of this enoughness as opposed to scarcity.
Yeah.
So when you live with lack, you hold everything to yourself, and there's always going to be those who have and those who have not. This pleasure activism says that there is enough for everyone, and making sure that we, as a culture, create these spaces where, you're enough as women, or women of color, people of color, or whatever, whatever the construct. But I've always thought, about pleasure, but didn't have a name. So I am all about this pleasure activism and making sure to not only be mindful that yes, that orgasmic yes in my spirit, but creating spaces where people are able to do this, are able to do the same, to live from this perspective.
You mean like being a space where people can be a yes?
Where they, not being a yes, where they have the autonomy to decide what and to live in a way that is respectful and that and embrace those things that bring them joy.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's not that you're a yes. It's the feeling that I have that right. That I have a right to say yes or to say no based upon what's good for me, and not apologize.
Yes.
I'm not apologizing for feeling the way that we do, because we make judgments and we say, oh, well, you're living for yourself or you're being selfish.
Yeah.
No, this is about self-preservation and self-autonomy.
I love it. It very much reminds me of Abraham Hicks. It's very law of attraction.
Yes.
It's very,
Those energies.
5 minutes? Oh, 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Thanks, Abraham. It's very like, this idea of being a vibrational match for what it is that you do desire, but also knowing that the external is not going to be the thing that fulfills you, right? Like generating pleasure is what it sounds like, generating your high vibration.
Exactly. I mean, we're talking about pleasure as freedom, and not just something that we talk about or activate in the privacy of our own home, or in shame, or even in guilt.
See, what it sounds like to me, and I'm a big believer in all of it, is this idea of being responsible for our own joy, like even in relationships. Yes. But what that takes is letting go of the attachment that someone else fulfill us. So, like I'm going to take responsibility for my own joy, my own happiness, my own pleasure in this relationship. And if you can't, you don't have to fulfill and you don't have to meet up to anything in order for me to be joyful.
It's incredibly freeing.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's it's like being emancipated.
Yeah.
It's about being released. And, someone asked me about, well, when was the last time, you were in a relationship? And, I was saying, I have a very good relationship with my ex-husband, and but we've had to work on that.
Yeah.
And when I left my marriage, I had to get myself together. And through this process, and it wasn't 6 months, it wasn't a year, it wasn't even 2 years, but I am now in a position, to say what's good for me and what's not good for me.
Yeah.
And I don't focus on what I don't want.
Yeah.
That's
a big
paradigm shifting.
Because what you focus on grows. Like if you believe in the law of attraction, if you're focusing on what you don't want, you're basically asking for it.
Right. So
totally. And that means like talking about it, thinking about it, concentrating on it, which I think we often do. It's hard not to find yourself doing that. I find myself doing it, even though I practice.
Like a switch.
Yeah.
When I feel pivot. I'm going, and there are times when, you get frustrated and, it's not fair and it's not just, it's not fair and it's not just, but there are other things to compensate and to offset that.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on those things that make me a better man.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Pam, and we're out of time. There's a couple more announcements that I have to make before we go. Now, do you want the people to follow you anywhere on your social media or anything like that? I know that you're not like a full on, do you have a modeling thing coming up? Is there anything you want to invite anybody to?
High Tech Moda.
Oh.
Kat Schuler, Diversity Runway.
We love
the
Kat.
Real Way. Yes, we do.
Kat's a friend of the show.
And just that there should be diversity and inclusivity everywhere, and that the runway on and off should reflect the world in which we live. High Tech Moda. New York Fashion Week is coming up, this weekend, next weekend, and I'm participating in it. I'm walking in 2 shows, and I'm also helping volunteering on the back end too. So I'm excited.
I love it. That's exciting. Yay. Pam, a fantastic fashion model. I love it, honey.
I'm writing.
You're writing. Okay. So, as soon as you're ready, you come back on so you can plug what you're writing.
Yes.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much, Pam, for being here.
And thank you for the invitation. It is always, it's always a pleasure here. And, we start and then, oh my gosh, it's like,
it goes by.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's time to end, but I love you.
Oh, yay. You're a friend of the show.
I'm not only a friend, I'm a fan.
Yeah, honey, I love you so much.
Yes.
All right, let me tell the people about these couple things. If we have a little more time, we'll commiserate with our Facebook Live people. Lynette, who came in, Stephen, who came in. Welcome, you guys. So I want to tell you guys about a couple things. For one thing, I have a guest coming up, Graciela, who is the founder of Manifest Your Soul. And she's doing a prayer walk on Thursday, August 29th in Harlem from 125th Street to 157th Street. And she does these very, like, if you're into the woo-woo, the very moving spiritual, she's going to do a moon ceremony, and it's all in order to pray for the Amazonian rainforest right now. And so, which I think is a very, it's huge. Like, we just need whatever, whether you believe in energy, vibration, and attraction, whatever, believe whatever you want to believe. But if you pray to anybody, if you think that there's a higher power, it is worthwhile to get connected to your spirituality. And if there's anything that you can actually do, whether to donate or whatever. But this is a great event that she's doing. It's a prayer walk. Like I said, all you got to do is wear white, bring instruments. She leads the whole, I know, right? Yeah. She leads the whole ceremony. So you definitely want to get with that. And I will leave a link in the comments for anybody who's watching on the Facebook Live so you guys can get with that. And then the other thing is my Epic Intensive, which I've been telling you about every week. It's why we're doing the mother-daughter theme all through the fall. So EPIC stands for Empowering Practices for Intimate Connections. And the focus of this intensive will be Get Right with Mom for the sake of your love life. Yeah. Right? We're turning stressed out or abused daughters into epic women. So if you think your lifelong relationship with your mother may be negatively impacting your love life, this is the intensive group coaching for you. If you want to heal, master the skills to create healthy relationships, start all over from a clean slate, and attract the ultimate love of your life, use the link on my business page, Candace Harper Love Coach, to apply for a free call, and we can, talk about it. The intensive is 12 weeks long. It's a 90-day program, and at the end of it, we go to Jamaica for our completion retreat. And, it's a healing space. It's a growing space. And if you really are ready to transform your experience, transform your life, and get a different result than you've gotten before, as far as your love life and your relationship with your mother goes, even if she's passed away, it's definitely something that you can heal. So, go get that link, do the application, and we'll talk about it. Then the other thing is that I'm on the lookout for speaking opportunities right now. Oh, Armed Radio's giving us the minute. We just got the Hey Wake Up minute sign. So for the Armed Radio people, never forget that you're a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you're not getting enough, just make more and ask for candy. But anyway, about the speaking opportunities, if you have an audience of women ages 12 on up, I am available to come and speak about self-esteem, radical self-acceptance, how to get in good relationship with yourself, and obviously the mother-daughter relationship. So, anybody who has that kind of audience needs to fill that time, fill that space. Thank you, Avon. We got 1 more minute left on the recording. Anyway, let me know. Get at me. You know how to find me. I'm all over social media and on Instagram at Candy Love Coach. And I think that's all the announcements. I think that's it. Email me too, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again, Pam. Yay. Thank you again, the people on the Facebook Live and Armed Radio. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Metro Podcast Studios and Avon. And bye, everybody. Bye.